Yo, welcome back to the second segment of the ShakeBack Sports Show right here on the Big Game Christian Sports Network. It's your boy Willie Epting Jr. Checking in, man. Got the family, got the boys, got the Brodies in here with me. We had a resounding first segment. We're going to bring them back in here in just a second. Brian, Mr. U, Bo, Herb, and Raj from the ShakeBack Media Group and their respective personal platforms. Man, we got so much more to get into here in just a second. Just in case you missed it in the first segment. Well, we talked about week 11, and the last thing we talked about was Frank Reich and Bryce Harper, what his future is going to look like in Carolina. I am definitely concerned, not just because of the influx of instability, but that dude's size. Yeah, I'm really, really worried about. All right, we're going to get to some we got a You Big Dummy segment coming up here in just a second. So we're going to get to that. I'm going to bring the boys back in here in just a moment. Before we move any further, though, this second segment, it is being brought to you by Front End Sports. Founded in 2022, Front End Sports is dedicated to empowering athletes, teams, and organizations with cutting-edge social media, merchandising, and NIL strategies to help your brand through innovative and personalized solutions. Their team consists of experienced professionals with diverse backgrounds in sports, marketing, design, and technology who share a passion for helping their clients succeed and unlock their full potential. Make sure you holler at them at frontendsports.com. Tell them that your boy Willie Epting Jr. from the ShakeBack Sports Show, the ShakeBack Media Group, and of course the Big Game Christian Sports Network told you to holler them so y'all can set it off on getting your brand recognized. All right, Brian, Mr. U, Bo, Herb, and Raj. What's going on, fellas?
How's it going, man?
Good.
How's everybody going?
Yeah,
what's going on?
We are live out there on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and of course, Twitter. Yeah, man, it's on and popping. So, y'all good? Everything good?
Yes, sir.
Well, let's roll on along in this second segment. I don't know if you guys have ever heard or been a part of the You Big Dummy segment of the show, but it is basically something that has happened, whether it's inside or outside of the world of sports, and it just made you say this. Big dummy. Oh no, you big dummy. You dummy. You big dummy. 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 Get lost, dummy. Yeah, there are some dumb things that continue to happen in our world, whether it's sports, entertainment, real life, whatever the case may be. It just is what it is. So we're going to get to that right now. Welcome the fellas into the You Big Dummy portion of the show. I'm not calling you guys dummies, but Mr. U, you can talk about something that made you say just that, you big dummy.
I'm going to talk about the Steelers. I don't know who to blame. They kept Matt Canada for 3 of the worst winning seasons in NFL history. They've been outgained in every win they had. Barely beat Cleveland. Sean Hockley helped them out. They didn't have Kenny Pickett prepared. This is a rookie quarterback now, or second year, whatever. He wasn't prepared for Cleveland, their division rival. You know how big his games are to this team. Lose to a division rival in conference. It could hurt you down the road to bite you. He wasn't ready for the Browns. He said on camera at a press conference, we weren't prepared for them. They played man 30% of the time, but they wasn't ready for it. That's just ineptitude. I don't know if Tomlin gonna get the heat for that or somebody else, but it's just awful. That was dumb.
Yeah, that is
pretty dumb. That loss could hurt them going to heading toward a playoff picture.
No doubt. All right, Herb, what you got, man? What made you say you big dummy this week?
It was a little personal to my heart, but I went with Bill Belichick. I mean, just make a decision here somewhere, but let's not keep trotting out a quarterback that you have no faith in and just saying, hey, the first mistake you make, we're pulling you for a guy who's going to make the same mistake. So just make a decision. You know, stick with one, stick with the other. Maybe take some of the blame yourself for this terrible team that you put together. But like, don't just keep trying. I mean, unless you're just trying to destroy the man's confidence, let's not keep doing the same thing every week. Whoever your third string is, just put that guy out there from now on, and just embrace the tank. But stop doing the same thing every week.
Embrace the tank. All right, Raj, who you got? Who's your big dummy of the week?
My big dummy is our good old friend Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers came out and said that his return this season is dependent on his health, and get this one, whether the Jets make the playoffs or not. Stop giving this fan base some sort of hope that they're going to have magically put Zach Wilson in there. He's going to throw 5 touchdowns a game, and they're going to actually start winning games. It's not going to happen. You're not coming back. We'll see you next year. It's okay to just miss a year. You'll start next year. It's okay.
I'm not sure if he's calling Aaron Rodgers a big dummy or if he's calling the Jets fan base a big dummy. Either way, it's dumb. Brian, you're big dummy for the week.
Well, Herb somehow knows what I'm thinking because I was going to go with Bill Belichick, for continuing to throw Mac Jones out there and feed him to the Wolves. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say the Raiders, the dummies. The Raiders are dummies for not taking care of business and beating the Chiefs, okay? They were supposed to beat the Chiefs so that my Jags would be number 1 and stay number 1 in the AFC. But the Raiders failed. They failed. Dummies.
You're a big dummy for really thinking that was going to actually possibly happen. You're the big dummy for that. I'm telling you right now.
Probably true. It's probably I had to ad lib there. Sorry.
I got you. Bo, you're a big dummy from week 11.
Really, it stems this entire season, and that's the Chargers by not getting Staley out of the building, right? He's supposed to be this defensive-minded genius coach that has an expensive defense that is terrible. I mean, that offense puts up points. Just go ahead, let him go. Let Kellen Moore get his trial run as the HC, and let's try and, not waste the entirety of Herbert's career.
Yeah, Brandon Staley probably shouldn't have been able to board the airplane in Jacksonville this past January. They could have called me down there and let me have his seat on the way back to California. That would have been dope. But Brandon Staley, I don't even know. I think the general manager or whoever's in charge of the coaching staff, he has to be the bigger dummy. I mean, what is it going to take? How much more does he have to show you that he is who he is? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't care because I don't like them anyway, except for Jalen Guyton because I do a show with his mom every other Thursday. So that is the You Big Dummy portion of the show. Thank you guys for that. Let's move on to the reason why I brought you guys in here. Not that I didn't bring you guys in here for everything that we've already talked about, but you guys are such college football experts that I had to channel my inner Stephen A. Smith by saying I'm going to bring in people that are smarter than me when it comes to this particular subject. So let's go back. Let's look back on rivalry week. Michigan stops OSU. Is it time to tell Ryan Day good night? Herb.
I just swore you were going to start with Mr. U on that.
Right.
I'm saving the best for last.
I think he gets one more year. And it's sad to say that one of the reasons I read about this was that Michigan's going to graduate a lot of people, which I think is the saddest reason to ever keep Guy one more year is like, hey, we think you'll do better next year. But we've already talked about like the Big Ten is just a joke outside of those two teams. So if you're one of the top two teams, you can't beat the other one. I'm like, yeah, it's time to go. You're not, you can beat bottom feeders all day, but with the talent Ohio State brings in, anybody could coach that. Probably outside of me, but Raj could probably get it done. So,
all right, well, let's go to Raj. Is it time to say goodnight on Ryan Day?
No, I don't think so. Listen, Ryan Day's been there, 5 seasons? He took them to a national championship game a couple years ago in 2020 when they got beat by our Alabama Crimson Tide 52-24. Let's not forget that last year they came 1 point away from beating Georgia in the Peach Bowl. They lost like 42-41. So he's done pretty well with the team. And I guess my next question is, if you do get rid of Ryan Day, who are you going to get to replace him and not just beat Michigan and not just win the Big Ten, but win you a natty? Is there somebody out there that can do better than what he's doing right now?
Good question. We'll find out. Brian, is it time to say goodnight on Mr. Day or Coach
No,
Day?
I don't think so. I mean, he has shown at least the capabilities of pretty much running through, the Big Ten, which, yes, some people might say that's an easy thing to do, but it isn't. It isn't an easy thing to do to win every game in your season, season. Outside of, Michigan the last couple of years, they've gotten the better of them. I don't think that that's a reason to get rid of your head coach when he's been to the playoffs. He's almost had it. I mean, trust me, I feel like the guy is still the guy there. They just need a few more pieces, put it together. Sure, they'll be fine.
Bo, I don't. Who is your college football team?
I'm a Washington Husky fan.
Okay, so yeah, they'll be playing in the same conference with them next year, right?
They will.
Yeah. So is it time to say goodnight?
No, I mean, I would say his track record lets him have another year. And, based on what they were saying with Michigan graduating a lot of people, they're not wrong, right? Like, they're going to lose half their team this offseason. So if that's why you keep him, that's weird. But I don't know that there's anybody out there that's going to be able to do anything more than what he's been able to do over the last few years anyway. So I don't see where you move off to potentially get worse.
And Mr. U, I got a special question for you because this is our team, or this is involving our team. The question is anyway, if Coach Day continues to not be able to beat Michigan, like say for instance they hold on to him for the next couple years, and he loses to Michigan both years, do you think he would be safe if he were able to get Ohio State to the college football playoff, but they don't win the national championship?
I don't think so. I mean, there's two things that's at play right now. One, if you look at what happened with Harbaugh in Michigan, what's the first thing that happened once the scandal started? You heard from the players and organizations supporting him off the top. Right? He's 0-3 against us. Nobody said anything regarding support for him. You look at the guys on the sideline. I mean, it was a game just played, but look at the body language. Nobody was like, "We're there for your coach. We're still in this." I think he lost the team. But at the end of the day, you guys are all right. They probably can give another year. But I think that mentally, the team's already gone off of him already. And on top of that, that controversy with the taping and the firm being hired and whatnot is still pending. So you got more dirt to be thrown on OSU if it does consider be investigated and it pans out to be a true thing that he was involved with, or him and his family. It's going to sully the reputation of the school even more. It'd be smart to let him go, but that's not what's going to happen. They're going to keep him for another year, like the guy said, and see what happens. But I think you're right, Willie. Even if he doesn't beat us, I don't think they retain him for past another year, anyways. Put it like that.
Yeah, I think it'll be tough for Ohio State to even. Well, say for instance, because I think Penn State will get better. I don't know about Iowa at this point because they just seem to have no offense ever.
Right.
And Michigan probably will take a step back, especially if Jim Harbaugh steps down and then all these other things come into play. So it may be a new question.
Five guys won the draft.
Yeah, it may be a jump. It may be a wash anyway.
You got to remember they're going to have to beat Oregon and Washington next year too. So It's not like they only have to worry about Michigan. Like they have real teams they got to fight now. It's not one. Like they have a few of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we're going to get to Washington here in just a second, but I got to ask the two Alabama boys this question. We know we've seen that Alabama, the Tide is tougher than the Iron in the Iron Bowl. 4th and 31 to ground the War Eagles. How Sway? Let's start with you, Herb.
I mean, let's just say my heart stopped beating for several moments. I mean, you just have a team that obviously was at a crazy, lucky, ridiculous play. Yeah. But is it kind of also the culmination of what the season has been for us? You know, I think people are just used to Alabama kind of being great the whole season, and you actually got to see a team that was started off really horrible and get better. And I mean, I like the product that's out on the field. So man, I'm enjoying the ride.
Yo, I can't wait to talk about the chaos or the impending chaos in the third segment because I got some juicy statements. All right, Raj, how Sway?
I think it was just a combination of luck on our end and just bad defense or a bad setup from Auburn's DB, and then they only rushed 2 on Milroe on the last play. He had, I know I've watched the replay about 400 times. I think he had like 15 seconds to throw the ball. Had they rushed somebody else and let him scamper a little bit, then maybe he wouldn't have been able to pass. And if you watch that last play at the end of the game, Milroe wasn't really throwing to like an open receiver. I think he just scanned the end zone and said, there's a one-on-one in the left corner. This is my best bet. And he just threw it and, got to cross his fingers. Luckily, we won. I'm still trying to figure out why Auburn's DB just didn't turn around and, pat the ball. The ball was in the air for a while. He had time to turn around and just pat the ball down. But he just, I don't know, maybe he had a girl in the stands yelling his name and he just wasn't paying attention. I don't know. I'm glad we won. And just a side note, weird things happened in Jordan-Hare Stadium. So that was me and Herb's big thing going into the game. We knew playing Auburn on the road, regardless of rankings and standings, it's going to be a weird game and some weird things are going to happen.
Yeah, and is it Jordan-Hare that's built on top of a cemetery?
I don't know. Is it Herb? I thought I heard something about that, but I don't.
Oh, you know what? I think it's Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. Yeah. All
That's
right.
a good question.
Yeah. All right. We got about a minute left to go in the second segment. So let's get to the Apple Cup. How about them apples, Bo? Your Washington, your Huskies, man. They dispatched the Cougs, and the Cougs, they gave them a battle, man.
They always do. The Apple Cup is always an awesome game. It regardless of the records or no matter where you are in the standings, those two teams don't like each other, and it shows every time at the end of the season. So it is fun to watch. Obviously, as a Husky fan, I was a little bit worried because if Washington State pulls that off, it knocks them out of potentially the championship, knocks them out of Final Four types. I mean, there's a lot that could have went wrong. So for them to be able to battle through, get the win, that was great.
All right, Brian, real quick, your thoughts on both of those games, man. Which one to you, which team benefited from getting that close victory the most? Would you say it was Alabama or would you say it was the Huskies?
I think who benefited the most from it's definitely Alabama. I mean, that kind of a win, regardless of who your opponent is, that kind of a win just kind of, galvanizes that team even more so than the rest of the season's already done for them. So it kind of set them up for this Georgia matchup that they're about to have, which is going to be the toughest one they've had all season. Washington, though, I will say, I mean, they're playing well, and that ain't an easy look. It's not an easy. We should have beat Oklahoma State. So I know what those rivalry games are like with the in-state rivalry. We hate them. I'm sure he hates Washington State. It's not an easy road. So I don't necessarily think they benefited as much though with it. So
yeah, let me cut you off because we are way over time and we're gonna embrace the chaos in the third segment. Y'all come on back and holler at us, man. We're gonna get into the college football playoff or the college championship weekend. Come on back and holler at us.
Well,
Right? It's still live.
yeah. Are we supposed to?
Oh, I think it's the hand signal.
ShakeBack Media Group, Willie Epting Jr., hashtag Brothers of Baseball. Where are we? We are at the official MLB apparel store live in New York City. Man, the show, 12s and 6s, 1s and 7s, BGCSN 1 and 2. Come on, check your boy out, Willie Epting Jr., hashtag Brothers of Baseball.
I'm a king of rock, the internet hot. Sucker MCs should call me shot. To flow my kingdom, you must choose fire. I won't stop rocking till I retire. Now we rock the party, it's correct.
Yo, bring that back, Big J. That's one of the all-time jams right there. Come on back. What y'all know about that, man? That's way before y'all's time. Willie Epting Jr., third and final segment of the ShakeBack Sports Show right here on the Big Game Christian Sports Network. Got the Brodies back in here with me, man. We're going to finish up the show real strong. We're going to get into this. Well, we're going to embrace the chaos. So before we do that, though, and finish up this show real strong, this third and final segment is being brought to you by West Bay Casino and Resort. Everyone deserves a break. So make a break for West Bay Casino and Resort in Kingston, Oklahoma, located off Highway 70 on the shoreline of Lake Texoma. Enjoy endless gaming, delicious dining, luxury resort amenities with 40 hotel rooms, 10 cabins, swimming, table games, retail, and over 275 of your favorite games, and so much more. Open 24/7 or 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For more information, go to westbaycasino.com. Again, that is westbaycasino.com. West Bay Casino and Resort. Tell them that your boy, man, told you to come out there and get y'all relaxation on, man, so y'all can set it off on just that. All right, so let's get to this, man. We got to embrace the chaos. We got 15 minutes left in the show to do this. I'm gonna just run down the matchups, and then I'm gonna make a bunch of statements, and y'all got to tell me if it's chaotic or not, if it's going to be chaos or if it's going to be calm. All right, so Oregon, the number 6 team in the country, will be facing Washington, the number 4 team in the country, for the second straight, or not the second straight, but for the second time this season in the Pac-12 championship game. That game, of course, will be in Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. The number 20th ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys, sorry, Brian, will be doing battle against the University of Texas Longhorns. Sorry again, Brian, in the Big 12 championship game. That game will be live from Jerry World, a.k.a. the Blast Furnace, a.k.a. the Chicken Fried Nation, right there in Arlington, Texas. And then number 1, Georgia against number 8, Alabama. Yeah, we got some Alabama fans in the building. Number 10, Louisville will be doing battle with Florida State. As Florida State is without their quarterback, of course. That game will be at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then the best team in the country, the University of Michigan Wolverines, will be doing battle against those Hawkeyes from Iowa who have no offense. Again, this game will be at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. Okay, real quick. Keys to victory for each team in the Oregon-Washington matchup. Go, Bo. That's your team.
Yeah, so I mean, for Washington to win, they have to play an almost perfect game, and they're going to need what happened last time, where Oregon makes some questionable calls in important spots. Oregon is probably the better team top to bottom, but Washington can definitely win this game. I don't agree with the line on the game, though. The 9.5 spread favoring Oregon is insane.
That is insane, and that's a lot of disrespect towards the Huskies as well, especially considering that they already beat them earlier in the year. All right, Herb and Raj, you guys can flip a coin as to who's going to go first on this one. What's the keys to the victory for for your Alabama Crimson Tide over the number 1 team in the nation, a team that has not lost a game since like 1938.
You go ahead, Earl.
Milroe needs to be decisive in this game. Whether he's going to throw, where he's going to run, Georgia's not going to give him forever. So I think that's the biggest key for us. We need the decisive Milroe, making good decisions, no turnovers.
Yeah, I would say playing disciplined football for Alabama, limiting the penalties, not making some of the kind of mistakes a starting quarterback shouldn't make, where you cross the line and you throw the ball and take the 5 or 10 yard penalties, things like that. And again, to Herb's point, I think it's going to come down to Milroe making those snap decisions like he did in the LSU game. If the ball's hyped and nobody's open, just run the ball. He's one of the fastest guys on the team. Just run the ball and get the yards. Don't take a sack. Don't scramble back there, because that Georgia defense is a monster. We all know that. We've seen him for years, and they're not going to give him a lot of time. So, yeah, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to Milroe and him making those smart, good QB decisions.
All right, Brian, these are your 2 hated rivals, most hated rivals for that matter, Oklahoma State and UT. I'm pretty sure you're rooting for a tie, but unfortunately that can't be the result of this game. Do you have a preference on which one of these teams wins?
My preference is that they all get food poisoning, and it's just a horrible game. It's just that's my preference. Let me be real, okay? And this might shock a lot of people, but if I got to root for somebody in this game, somebody puts a gun in my head, tells me I got to root for them. I'm rooting for Texas in this game. Mm-hmm. I know that sounds crazy because we hate Texas, but it's a respected hate. We hate Oklahoma State because we just hate them. We hate the fans. It's not cool to be around them. Like, we just don't like them. So they don't deserve it. I don't think they deserve it. I don't care if they beat us or not. They don't deserve it. So Texas is going to win that game. I don't see Oklahoma State staying within 20 points of this game.
Yeah, this is not clean old-fashioned hate between Georgia and Georgia Tech. This is just old-fashioned hate.
Straight up hate.
So Louisville and Florida State in the ACC title game. Brian, since you don't really have a dog in the fight like the rest of us do, any chance that if Florida State or if Louisville pulls off the upset, which will it really be considered an upset because Florida State doesn't have their quarterback?
I mean, yes, it's still an upset. They're undefeated. Even with the backup quarterback in there, they've remained undefeated. So it would 100% be an upset in my eyes. Louisville looked good last week, so they got a good shot. So
they got beat by Kentucky, didn't they?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
you're wrong. Okay, all right, you're right. Well, they've looked good all season up until then. So,
all right.
Nobody cares about the ACC. Come on now.
Yeah. Well, I think Dabo Swinney is going to have to get his pride out the way and start utilizing the transfer portal if he ever wants to be competitive again. All right, Mr. U, this is our squad, man. I'm going to give you the last couple of minutes on this preview. So Michigan is going to be favored by, I would say 11 points at least? What's the line? Is it higher than that? What's the line?
Well, I thought it was lower than that. It's not. I saw like
it's 22 and a half.
23 and a half. Yeah.
Okay. That's not what I saw like 2 hours ago.
Okay. Well, regardless of what it is, I mean, I think they're thinking that Iowa may not even be able to score 22 points anyway. So that's the deal. But is there any chance that Iowa has that can really throw a wrench in this thing and knock off our beloved Wolverines? Any chance whatsoever?
No chance. None.
Wait a minute.
I'm getting chips and salsa at halftime.
Well, okay, so
don't ever say there's no chance. Don't ever say there's no chance.
Is it safe to say this?
None.
Is it safe? Is it safe to say this?
No chance.
That's what you got.
I'm just asking. I'm asking for a friend. Well, all right. So we got. Let's see. We got
a whole bunch of reasons why I said that, but come on, man. Look at what's happening.
Yeah,
Georgia's 124th in scoring, man.
Yeah, but we don't. I mean, Michigan will say this: we're not going to ever disrespect an opponent, but you know
That's
they
not
got to
what I'm
be
doing.
like licking their chops in the background. All right, 6.5 minutes left to go in the show. I got some statements. Let's embrace the chaos because if for some reason Michigan loses, Alabama loses, and Washington loses, then we should all root for chaos. That's just my thought. Armageddon, the last days. So let's look at it like this. Let me do this real quick because the college football playoff rankings came out later on Tuesday. Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State are the first 4 in. Oregon and Ohio State will be the first 2 out. So let's look at it from this standpoint. If Alabama, Herman Raj, if they beat Georgia, does Georgia fall out of the top 4?
Yes. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
This is that weird year where yes, Georgia is gone because of that. There's just too much at the top.
Yeah, Alabama's going to climb up, and then the 3 teams ahead of Georgia might still be undefeated. So Georgia's going to be out of the top 4. If Georgia loses, they're not going to the playoffs.
Yeah, and look at the Texas example. You know, they've been very steadfast in keeping Texas above Alabama. You can't change that the last game and say Georgia be above Alabama. So
okay. So here's another chaotic question.
And the SEC is not getting 2 teams in. So
I could see that. Here's another chaotic question. This involves the Longhorns. Brian, so if Alabama beats Georgia and Texas wins, of course, and then Oregon blows out Washington, does Texas have a case to get into the top 4?
No, I don't think so. In fact, I think that might be one of the only few scenarios where Georgia will get in, because I think Georgia would get in over Texas. I think the loss is a better loss. It doesn't matter when it happened in the season; it's a better loss. So I think even a 1-loss Georgia is higher than Texas at this point. And they're playing number 20 Oklahoma State, so it would have helped them to play us. Honestly, I think beat us twice in the same year. If we'd have been there, then I think Texas, that might have been a yes there, but I don't think so.
Okay, so Mr. U, if I think I closed out the wrong tab. So if Washington beats Oregon and Florida State loses and somehow Michigan and Georgia lose, can you see a case for Texas or Ohio? Actually, could you see a case for Ohio State getting in there?
No.
Wait a minute now. Because
that's the face of why did I come on this show?
Ohio State would be a 1-loss non-conference champion. So I mean, not a conference champion with 1 loss. So I don't see how they would get in.
Every year the committee changes. Every year the committee changes, and I get that, but they favor conference champions.
Right.
But Ohio State didn't win it last year, and they got in.
Who did Ohio State lose to last year? Was that that was Michigan, duh.
Yeah, Ohio State, they didn't win the conference championship last year.
But last year you didn't have a 4th team as compelling as what you have this year.
Right.
So you didn't have a Texas, a Florida State. Texas wasn't in this. Florida State wasn't in this. Alabama wasn't in this. Oregon and Washington weren't both in this. So no. I would say I would put Washington still above them. Washington, Oregon, whoever, especially if Oregon wins and they're both at 1 loss, I'd still put them above that. If Alabama beats Georgia, Georgia's still above Ohio State. I think the only person that's out with 1 loss is Florida State because they'll combine the 1 loss with the loss of the quarterback. I think they have the most at stake with the win. Everybody else is still in play above Ohio State.
Even if Florida State wins
except Iowa
and remains undefeated, I think the committee will still be somewhat hesitant about putting them in simply because the starting quarterback was hurt. I'm not saying they won't get in, but the committee will think about that.
Yeah, but I'm putting in Florida State with a hurt quarterback over Ohio State with 1 loss and no conference championship.
Yeah,
which leads me to my last question. We got a minute and a half left to go. Leads me to my last question. I need a simple yes or no. Is there any way that Florida State wins, but they do not get into the CFP? Herb, any way?
No.
Rod?
No.
Brian,
Nope.
Bo.
If they win,
If
yeah,
Florida State
I mean,
wins, if Florida State wins out, is there a chance that they will not be in the CFP?
depends on if everybody else wins out too.
I said yes or no. Mr.
Yes.
U,
There's a scenario.
I'm
Yeah.
going with no.
yeah, okay, all
I'm
right.
going with the consensus of this one. Yeah.
Shameless plug time, Mr. U. How can everybody hear you, kick it with you, see you, feel you, all that? Well, maybe not feel you, but you know what I'm saying.
Ew. As far as audio podcasts go, anywhere you can get the streaming audios, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, we're everywhere. As far as the video, primarily on YouTube, but we simulcast on Facebook, LinkedIn, and the Twitter. They call me Mr. U, MISTAYU. Please like, share, and subscribe. And see
Urban
the-
Rod, one of y'all go. Plug yourself.
Herb's the
Twitter
best person.
at Raj_Herb. That's where you can find all our content. It goes out to YouTube as well. Facebook streams on there as well. All our videos are on YouTube, and then we do. If you don't catch us live, you can always go to, like I said, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that to catch our replays. So.
All right, Brian.
I'm right here with you on Wednesday nights at 6:00. The show Enough Divided. And you can find me mainly on Twitter at Sooner25411.
Bo.
That's it.
Yeah, you can find me here on YouTube at Football-Talk, and of course the socials at Football Talk with Bo, and of course on Roku TV Thursday and Friday mornings.
All right, and I'm everywhere, but I'm out now because we got to go. That's the end of the show. Up next, the big homies, the two Bs, Baker and Barlow. Yeah, they got some good stuff for you. For the dopest engineer in the game, Big Dave. For the Brodies, this is Willie Epting Jr. Y'all stay safe. Y'all hug each other. Y'all love each other. We'll holler at y'all again real soon. Peace. We out.
Peace out. Roll Tide.